Good afternoon, everybody. I am going to get started here in literally now. I'm going to turn this music down. I love the energy that is created by music. And I know today I'm talking about flipping. It's Flipping Thursdays, everyone. But I can't help but overlap between my mindset Mondays and the actual getting the work done and being successful at it. So again, when I want to up my energy and create great creativity, which investors, I'm going to talk all today about how the great qualities that we as investors possess, and creativity is definitely one of them. But I do want to get my juices flowing, so to speak, to bring the best to you, to have the most creative energy come through me. I am basically in flow when I am talking about my love, my passion, which is exactly what I'm doing with you here, is in sharing and talking all about my real estate, which you can see right over here. It's like this project that I'm working on right now. And actually, it's going to be the background or the topic of today's chat. Is I'm going to tell you about what the heck is going on in my world, and it's inspired me to share it with you today, and also talk about the qualities that I possess in order to be successful in real estate. So it is all about an investor mindset today, but it's also talking about my real life project. So I'm really bringing that whole like mind connection into my actual business, so you can understand how there is a really significant connection between the qualities that I possess and the success that I have. So today, today's show, it is all about the qualities of a successful real estate investor. Okay, and this is very much an entrepreneurial type position. If you are going to be getting into this space and you want my help and guidance, that's fantastic, and I do have my programs to help you. But you need to be a certain type of you need to create. You don't have to necessarily have all these traits right now, but you need to create this kind of a persona to be successful in this space. So I'm going to share with you now some of the qualities as I go through I'm going to share with you what's going on with my project. And these are all qualities that I want you to understand are really, really important to be successful in real estate. Okay, so I have right here in the background, and you can see this, two houses pictured here. And this property that I'm working on, it was a large property. And my plan was to divide the property into two parts. And I talk about this on my webinar. I've done this before, and it is increasing the value so much that I'm going to end up making the most money. That's the highest and best use. And this is a common term that we use in real estate, the highest and best use of the land. And the land in this case was so large that the highest and best use would be to have two houses actually on that piece of land. So when you create something that's going to be the highest and best use, you're going to get the most return on your investment. So this was going to make me like over $2 million, which would be like crazy great, right? So more than 100% return on my investment, which would be what I look for at this. After 25 years of doing this, I am looking for this type of project that I can make at least, at least close, if not over 100% return on my money. So this was the process that I've been going through, and I've been going through the approval process to get my permit. And then something crazy happened, and that is this pandemic. So I was in the system of going in to get an appeal because my first request got refused. And that I was expecting pretty much because, they want you to be really... A lot of the neighbors complained, so it does put a lot of pressure on the governing body to refuse it, and then I have to go to the appeal process. So that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I did plan that I would be going to the appeal process, so I wasn't shocked or anything like that. However, my appeal got delayed, and it is still delayed. It's inevitable. There's not even an end in sight here. of the like when I'm going to have the appeal. It's just cocoa pops. Like, it's just, so I was planning on having my appeal by now. In fact, I would have had my appeal in June, which means that I would have broken ground by now. And that means to say I would have demolished the existing house by now, which is one big house, and started my construction of the 2 new houses. So that hasn't happened. And when you're a real estate investor, you really do possess certain qualities. And this is like the moment of what's the word? You know what I'm saying? It's like the moment of, not reckoning, but it's like a moment where you really have to say, okay, what is the best path for me right now? So I was holding off until now. I should have had these 2 houses under construction right now. And so I'm definitely way behind. And when I called the appeal office, they had no answer for me when my appeal would be. In fact, they said maybe in January they would know more. Like, it's October, like the beginning of October, and they won't even know more about the schedule until January. So I just was like, whoa, like, that's pushing my schedule way, way, way too far out. And every month that I sit here and I'm actually living in the house that I'm going to tear down. I'm living here. So every month that I sit here, I have to make the payments to carry this property. And this property, I purchased this property for $2.6 million. And that is a very, big purchase in and of itself. And I have to carry that every month to make the payments. And not to mention all the other costs that come to come with the property tax and the utilities and whatever else we require to be here. So I had a year schedule to get my permit, and now I'm over by about 15 months, July, August, September. Yeah, so I'm over by about 3 months now, over my schedule. So I had to make a decision. Okay. And this is part of what you will be doing as your own entrepreneur, real estate investor, when you have your own projects that are underway. And I had to make a really hard decision, and I had to give this up. Okay. That was not an easy decision. I have held out as long as I am willing to hold out, because it's not a test of will here. It's not about that at all. It's about what is the best decision going forward at this point. We have information now, new information, that I'm not going to have my appeal date for an unforeseen amount of time. And I don't want to, um, I don't want to waste any more time waiting. I need to get this project flipped. And the more time I sit here, the more money I'm spending. And that's also, not only does it not good for my bottom line, but it also is like a mentally very challenging, right? To be waiting and waiting and not being able to move forward. So it is, um, it's creating that sort of stuck mentality, and it trickles through your entire life, right? So I've made the decision now that it's time to act. And this is one of the things that I want to talk about, and that is that sometimes you have to pivot. Okay. And this is where creative thought comes in on, okay, what am I going to do if I'm not going to do what I originally wanted to do? Now I've got to come up with a creative alternative that's going to still make me some money. And I know that it's not the highest and best use for the property anymore. So I know I'm not going to make the same amount of money that I was going to make. However, it's, in my mind, it's better to get, in and out fairly quickly, because you don't want to lose momentum in life in general. I do want to get this project completed because I have aspirations for other properties that I'm seeing. So I need to put this one to bed, and I need to get it going so that I make the best alternative plan that I can and move forward. So that is definitely something that you need to consider when you are a real estate investor. You've definitely got to make some of these hard decisions along the way, along the course of the events of your project. And part of me, I had to let go of that dream, of that goal that I had, which was to do these two properties. And that's not easy, right? Because you have a vision, you have that goal in your mind. But I think that it's more successful when you can basically stop and say, okay, listen, this is not going to happen in the way that it was intended to happen. So it's all good. So that basically, instead of thinking negatively about that, I look at it and I say, okay, I'm not meant to make these two houses here. The universe has spoken, and it's saying, no, that's not the way to go. Okay. And it's loud and clear. So this is not a good solution to your development. And so instead of thinking negatively, I think, okay, no, it's actually good, because I wasn't meant to build those two properties. Everything is pointing in the direction of one beautiful luxury home, large home, instead of the two. So I'm sure my neighbors will be very, very happy. They didn't want those two houses. So I'm sure that they're going to be ecstatic knowing that it's going to be one luxurious home. And so I'm now pivoting, like I just said, and I've got my team now working on the design of a beautiful single family home for this property. And it's going to be killer. Exactly, Paula. Everything happens for a reason. And that's exactly my point, is that I'm not feeling badly about this. I'm feeling excited about this, because now I look at it with some fresh eyes, and I get excited about, and I'm actually getting goosebumps saying that, I get excited about the new possibilities. I am going to be a pioneer on this street, and I am going against what I teach and show my students, which is, do not be the pioneer on your street or in your area. But I am not a beginner. I am a seasoned investor, and so I do think that I'm still gonna knock it out of the park. As far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna do an amazing property. I will set a record on this street for the most expensive house that was sold, and I believe I'm gonna be able to do it for I'll be able to sell it for over $5 million. So bought it for 2.6 and build one beautiful big house and sell it for over 5, I'm still going to make over $1 million of profit here. So it's still nothing to, shake a stick at. It's still really good. And I'm still going to be really excited about it. And at the same time, I'm going to be shooting it for the series that I'm doing. So you'll be seeing all the details of when I'm actually doing it on a network, whatever network decides to pick it up. But that's what's happening. And in addition to that, so that's just the sort of the concept change. Okay. But in the background now, I want to tell you all about what's been going on with financing. Okay. So I've been putting lots of money, like I said, into the project for the last 15 months. And I am at a point right now where I need to get more, leverage the property more. Actually, I'm leveraging the farm. Literally, I have a farm and I'm going to be leveraging it to sink some more money into my investment here in this development. And it's a very interesting challenge because for the last, I'd say, week and a half, I have been negotiating this financing with a private lender. I typically use private lenders. They are more flexible, and when you're a real estate developer, entrepreneur, you need lenders that understand you. And the big banks, the chartered banks, the regular banks, they don't speak my language. They don't understand what I'm doing. They think I'm high risk. So typically I use private lenders, and yes, the interests are going to be higher, but it's still, for me, very manageable within the confines of my, my 100% returns. So it works really very nicely for me. Anyway, there were some real big like hurdles to jump over and hoops to jump through to get this money. In the last, I'd say, week and a half, we have been negotiating like every day about cross collateral and security on top of security. And one of the issues was that the farm was my father's, and because there was because I don't want to get into too much of the complexity here, because I'm going to start speaking about things that are really over most people's understanding. But my name is on title now, but it hasn't been certified. Don't worry about all the details of that. But because of that, my private lender was wanting more security, more collateral of some kind, and we were just basically going through all the creative ways of putting a lien on this property, or assigning a mortgage over to you, or there was just all this amazing, exciting negotiation going on. And I was literally on the brink of my lender walking away from the deal. And I don't blame him, because he has the money sitting in a bank, costing him money every day. He hasn't let that money out. It's costing him. So he's been very patient, waiting for all of our lawyers. And I've got two on my side working from two different perspectives. One's an estate lawyer, one's a real estate lawyer, and he has his real estate lawyer. They're all trying to coordinate leveraging of the farm, even though it's not certified yet in my name. And now I have to find divorce papers for my father's divorce. Like, there's just endless things that have been going on all around this property. And it's really quite exciting and interesting. But when you're a real estate investor and you want to be successful in this world, you have to have patience. Okay. There's no reason to hurry. You need to have patience. And I have been doing what I can every day to bring this loan and this agreement together. And talk about having endurance. So I would say for the last, I mean, I probably started negotiating this with him in the beginning of September. So it's gone on now for a good month of negotiations, telling him, all of the structure of what I have, what I can do, what are my intentions. And I've borrowed from this person before. We have a good relationship. He's actually a neighbor of mine. So we are in really good position together. And in fact, we do plan on even doing a project together because he's also in this real estate investing world. So we do have a really good relationship, and he does understand what I'm doing, and that is so key, right? When you're looking to borrow, and I'm borrowing a lot of money, like a lot, close to $1 million from him. So it is very significant. We don't play around. We have to get all the I's dotted and the T's crossed when we do this. You have to have belief in what you're doing as a successful real estate investor. You have to believe that for me, my belief is that I'm improving the neighborhood. I am adding to the street. I am not taking away from the street, and I believe in my project, and I believe I'll get the financing, and I believe that I will build a beautiful house, and I believe that somebody will buy it. So I believe in the process, and that's something that I think is key quality in an investor, is a real estate investor, is that you can actually see the outcome. You can visualize the outcome. So you believe in that. You believe in that, whatever it is you're creating, you believe in it. And the other thing is action. You have to take action. So just to get this property, which I was in a bidding war to get this property. And this is actually a really amazing story that I want to share with you right now. And that is, I didn't have a chance to knock on this person's door and make them an offer on the side. Like it went on to the MLS marketplace, and they had an offer date, and I was competing with two other buyers. And so I am a real estate agent, as I think most of you know. And so I put together my own offer, and I submitted it, and we weren't allowed to we were only allowed to fax the offer. We weren't allowed to go to the seller's house, which is more sort of a typical thing. We go to the seller's house and we present our offer. And that's when I'm best in front of people, right? I mean, that's why I'm in the speaking realm. That's why I'm in the public realm, because I'm best in front of people communicating. And so for me, it was a real disadvantage to just be faxing it in. It's like, oh, my offer is now going to be like just another offer like everybody else. And I'm not going to be there to really enhance it in any way or talk it up in any way and do what I normally do when I'm selling and negotiating. Because those are like some of my best attributes are selling and negotiation. So I didn't get any of that opportunity. And I faxed it in, and then I knew the offer presentation was at a certain time. And so I called just before that, and I said to the real estate agent who listed the property, I said, so how's my offer look? And she said, it's not the highest. And I was like, oh no. Like right away, when you're in a bidding situation, there's no conditions on these offers. It's clean offer with the big number. And they were asking $2.4 million. And I think I had put on maybe $100,000 extra or something. It's like 2.5. I don't even remember exactly, but I think it was around that. And she said, no, you're not the highest. Okay, so this is sort of typical, like what happens in my neighborhood with buying, great properties, is there's people wanting them. There's a demand. So I could have just accepted defeat pretty much at that moment, because I already knew I wasn't the highest, or I could take action and do something. So that's exactly what I did. I couldn't accept that I wasn't going to get this property. So I just said, okay, well, I'm just going to drive over there. I'm driving over to the seller's house and I'm knocking on the door. And by the way, that's sort of not, we're not supposed to do that because that's not really the rules that were set up. But I'm like, well, I'm losing it anyway. I have nothing to lose right now, right? I have this house to lose if I don't do anything. And so I went over to the house, I knocked on the door, and the real estate agent answered the door, and she's like, "You're here." I said, "Yeah, I'm here." I said, I'd like to change my offer. Can I change my offer? And she looked at me and she's like, yeah, I guess. Like, she didn't even really know what to say because nobody steps out of the boundaries like that. Nobody goes out of bounds like that. Then most people play by the rules, right? Especially good Canadians. We're very conservative. We don't, we sort of sit back and relax. We're not the same kind of action takers that a lot of our neighbors to the south are. They're much more aggressive typically. And so she gave me my offer back, and I looked at her right in the eye and I said, "So what does it have to be?" And she's like aghast again. I don't know. I'm not supposed to tell you like what the other offers are. She said, but then, she didn't give anything away, but at the same time, I got enough information from her that I said, okay, I think I know where I'm supposed to be. And I changed my offer. I actually ended up spending, I don't know, $200,000 more than asking. 200, and I always put a little extra on because if the competition puts on 200, I've got to put on 205, or 206. And that's exactly what I did actually. I put on 215. So it has to be a little bit obscure. Otherwise, you can still lose out, right? And then so basically I got the house. And they invited me to come in to do the final signing on the offer. And it was an elderly couple that lived here. And they said, what you did, like coming over here and doing that, like that's what got you this house. So congratulations to you. You did that. You made that happen for yourself. And that's really the lesson here that I want to share with you. And that is action. You got to take action. You've got to do sometimes the uncomfortable thing. And that was uncomfortable for me to, go outside of the boundaries and the rules that we play in my area. Knock on a door and get uncomfortable and ask the hard question. And this is something I do say to my students often, and that is you have to ask, always ask. And that's exactly what I did. I asked for the order. I came to the property and I knocked on the door and I said, I want this house. What's it going to take to get this house? And I got it. So action taking. And that goes together with facing your fear. Fear of rejection, fear of people saying no to you, fear of the door being slammed in your face. And I knock on doors too. When I see an opportunity and I like a property, I will knock on the door and talk to the owner if possible. And it is a fear in the beginning that you will be rejected somehow, and maybe in a really nasty way. And so we really build up a big fear about it. But to be a successful entrepreneur, real estate investor, you really need to face those fears and just get over yourself. Like, just get over yourself, like if they say no, just go on to the next one. And that's sales just in general, I would say. So that is those are a lot of the qualities that I think are what make a successful entrepreneur, real estate investor. And I hope that, if you listen to me on Mondays, when I'm talking about how you can create, using your thoughts, like the best law of attraction, the best use of your mindset to create the flipping great life that you want, You can also, if you feel like you're lacking in some way in some of these qualities, you can actually create those qualities in yourself by using your mind and creating good habits, which create good thoughts. And you can basically decide how you want to show up in the world. And so this list that I have here today on all of the qualities that really make an amazing entrepreneur and real estate investor successful are all things that if you don't feel like you have it right now, you can actually change it in your life to get them and to be that way. You can decide how you want to show up in the world. And I am a firm believer in all of that because I have created a completely different mindset than I used to have as well. And I used to be living in fear and anxiety most of my life and most of my flipping life. I was really not enjoying myself like I do today. I don't live in fear and anxiety anymore. So all the qualities that that I talked about today, you can absolutely produce them in your own life. Until Monday, when I get back onto my love of mindset, I am Tracy Fines, your flipping queen, and I hope that this has inspired you to get into this world of real estate and take your life up like 10 levels. Bye for today.